She didn't leave overnight. She didn't wake up one morning and decide she was done. It happened slowly, quietly, in the spaces between your texts, in the silences you never noticed, in the moments she needed you, and you just weren't there. You thought everything was fine. It wasn't. Here's what nobody tells you about losing someone. Most people think a relationship ends with a big fight, a dramatic moment, some final conversation where everything falls apart. But the truth? The scariest endings don't look like endings at all. She was still there, still smiling, still answering your calls. But something inside her had already started shutting down, and you had no idea it was happening. This video is about that silence, that slow emotional exit, and why it happens to so many relationships without either person fully realizing it until it's too late. Stay with me, because if you've ever lost someone you thought you still had, this is going to hit different. Picture this. It's 6 months into the relationship. She's still texting you first, still sending you memes at 2 a.m., still getting excited when she sees your name on her screen. She's all in. Now fast forward 3 months. She still texts back, but it takes a little longer. Her replies are shorter. She says, okay, where she used to say, OMG yes, let's do it. She laughs, but it's the kind of laugh that doesn't quite reach her eyes. You don't notice, because on the surface, nothing looks broken. But here's the truth. Something already cracked a long time ago. And every time she reached out and didn't get what she needed, that crack got a little wider. She told you she was feeling distant once. You said you're overthinking it. She told you she needed more effort. You said, I've been busy. She told you with her eyes, her energy, her silences, and you kept scrolling. So she stopped telling you. Not because she stopped caring, but because she got tired of caring alone. Let's talk about what's actually happening here, because most people don't realize this. There's something called emotional withdrawal. It's not the same as losing interest. Losing interest is fast. It's sudden. It comes from boredom or falling out of attraction. Emotional withdrawal is different. It's what happens when someone keeps investing, keeps giving, keeps hoping, keeps trying, and keeps getting nothing back. Every time she reached out emotionally and got silence, dismissal, or distraction, her nervous system registered that as a small rejection, not a big dramatic one, just a tiny little signal that said, you're not safe here. And the brain is smart. The brain is protective. After enough of those tiny rejections, it starts to pull back. It starts to protect her from the pain of caring too much for someone who doesn't care enough back. That's not her losing interest in you. That's her losing the belief that you're capable of showing up for her. And this is where everything changes. Because once someone reaches that point, once the emotional withdrawal sets in, they don't come back the same way. You can't just say, I'll do better, and watch them light up again. The light dimmed, slowly. And bringing it back takes real, sustained work, not just words. Here's the part that's going to make a lot of you say, wait, that was me. These are the signs, the quiet ones, the ones that look like nothing until you look back. She stopped sharing the small things. She used to tell you everything, what she ate for lunch, something funny that happened at work, a random thought that crossed her mind at midnight. Then one day, she stopped, not all at once, just gradually. The small things stayed with her, and you never even noticed they were gone. She stopped fighting. Early on, she'd get upset, she'd push back, she'd tell you when something hurt her, but then, she went quiet. You probably thought, oh good, she's less dramatic now. Wrong. She wasn't less dramatic. She just stopped believing the fight was worth having. She started being fine. You asked how she was. She said fine. You asked if something was wrong. She said nothing. You believed her. But fine from someone who used to be electric? That's not fine. That's someone who gave up on being understood. She became okay with cancelled plans. Remember when she'd be visibly disappointed if you bailed? When she actually cared if you showed up? Then one day, she just said, "It's okay," and actually meant it. Not because it didn't hurt, but because she'd already started building a life that didn't depend on whether you showed up or not. Most people don't realize this, but that moment, when she genuinely stopped caring if you came through, that was the moment it was already over. She just hadn't said it out loud yet. Here's the cycle nobody talks about. She gave. You took, not maliciously, just unconsciously. She waited. You didn't notice. She hinted. You missed it. She asked directly. You minimized it. She went quiet. You felt relief. And then one day she was gone, emotionally, even if she was still physically there. And you looked around and said, "What happened? When did this change?" But here's the truth. It changed every single time you chose your comfort over her need to feel chosen. It changed every time she said, "I need you," in 1,000 quiet ways, and you heard silence instead. Okay, let's talk about what matters. If you're watching this and recognizing yourself, in her or in the person who missed the signs, this part is for you. First, understand that emotional tiredness is real exhaustion. This isn't about being dramatic or needy. Carrying a relationship, emotionally, is work. It's invisible work. And when one person does it alone for too long, they don't just get tired. They get empty. Take that seriously. Second, start paying attention before someone tells you to. The biggest mistake people make in relationships? Waiting for a crisis to show up. Waiting until someone says, "I'm done," before they start being present. Presence isn't a grand gesture. It's consistent, small, daily attention. It's asking how she really is. It's remembering what she told you last week. It's showing up, not perfectly, but reliably. Third, when someone tells you they're hurting, don't fix it. Feel it with them. Half the time, she didn't want a solution. She wanted you to sit with her in the feeling, to say, "I hear you, that sounds hard. I'm here." 3 sentences. That's it. And it would have changed everything. Fourth, if you're the one who's been shutting down, ask yourself why. Sometimes the person withdrawing isn't doing it because they don't care. Sometimes they're protecting themselves from hope, from disappointment, from wanting something they're afraid to want. If that's you, that's worth exploring. Not alone, but out loud. With the person you're pulling away from, or with someone who can help you unpack it. And finally, some relationships can be rebuilt, but only on honesty. Not on promises you can't keep. Not on temporary effort that fades in 2 weeks. On real, raw honesty about what went wrong, what you need, and whether you're both willing to do the work. She didn't lose interest. She lost the energy to keep hoping you'd show up. And that's a different kind of loss, because it doesn't come from falling out of love. It comes from loving someone and slowly realizing that love alone isn't enough to sustain you. The saddest part isn't the ending. The saddest part is how many people, right now, are in the middle of this story, pulling away without realizing it, missing signs without knowing their signs, slowly losing someone they actually love, because nobody taught them what emotional presence looks like. Don't be that person. Not because losing someone is painful, though it is, but because the person in front of you deserves to feel chosen every single day, not just when it's convenient. And so do you. If this hit you somewhere real, sit with it. Don't scroll past it. Don't bury it. Let it mean something. Because awareness is the first step, and you just took it.